Welcome to Midlife Matters. I'm Marie, and each week I'm joined by my friends Julie and Mindy to talk about all the topics keeping women in the middle years up at night. Today we're welcoming spring in with all five senses. Join us as we talk about what we're doing to make our homes and our activities reflect this fresh and beautiful time of year. Let's get started. Listeners, it's that wonderful time of year when the days start to lengthen, the air gets warmer, and the sun shines more often. It's spring. Mindy and Julie, can you believe the first day of spring was 3 days ago?
No, I'm so excited because it doesn't matter where I live in the country. Winter is always too long. So even though I'm in South Georgia now, it still has outstayed its welcome. So come
You're
on,
ready
spring.
to move on. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I always look forward to spring and I'm jumping at just the first sunny day or, warm weather, but then I have to prepare myself for the false spring,
Mm-hmm.
when winter comes back for a day or two and then it jumps right into summer.
Right. That's how it is in Tennessee.
I know. I buy all my potted plants. I put them all out proudly, and then I have to bring them all back in once, maybe twice before all the cold snaps are over.
Yes.
Yeah.
But now that awful spring forward time change is over and we've gotten over the hurdle of losing another hour, we can settle into all the fun things about this fresh new season. And today's episode is all about welcoming spring with all five senses: sight, smell, taste, hearing, and touch. So we've got a lot to cover. And spring, like that, those are the adjectives I just think about: fresh and new. So I feel like the things we talk about today are going to be inspiring because that's how spring is to me.
Yeah. And I just love, we did this back in the fall, talking about welcoming the season in with all our senses. And I love how, you can walk outside and you can tell what season it is by how it feels and looks and smells. And, trying to do that with your home too. Like when people walk in, they might know what season it is. And, you've walked into a house before and thought something's off. And you look over there and there's a Christmas tree in the corner and it's March. Something's not right here. But I guess it could be more subtle than that. But
yeah,
trying to keep what's going on outside current with what's, keeping your inside current with what's going on outside, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Is how we're
that
looking
makes
at
a
this.
lot of sense. Right. So let's get started on what we're going to do to decorate or seasonalize our homes for spring. And Mindy, what are you going to do? Because you said that winter has outstayed its welcome and you're in a new house. So what are you going to do?
Well, with my home in particular, I feel like I want to buy every potted plant that I see.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to add flowering shrubs to the yard. And honestly, on the inside, I find myself cleaning again. I mentioned this in the fall too. Like I was getting ready for a long winter's nap. And so I make sure that my house is really clean. Well, I feel that way again. Like it's getting, it's staying lighter later. And I just feel like I see all the dust. Anything floral I want to showcase in the house. And I need it to be clean. So that's kind of where I am. And honestly, the main signs of spring is just the abundant fruit that I have going on. I have kind of a station set up for fruit in the kitchen, and there's just a lot more of it right now. So
yes, I know. I have a fruit bowl, and in the spring, inevitably, it's kind of pouring out onto all the counters around it. Like I want to try all the fruits that are out again.
yes.
Well, I always start with changing out what's on my front door. For about a year, I've kept the same thing out there and just made little changes to it. But right now, I've put these forsythia wreaths back on the door.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
And I don't know, that's the bloom that says spring to me more than anything else, those bright yellow stalky blooms.
Mm-hmm.
So like you, Mindy, it's all about flowers, either cut flowers or potted bulbs or even cuttings from blooming trees. I'm driving around the neighborhood thinking, I think I could cut that tree without getting arrested.
Oh, no.
Or maybe I'll have to wait till dark to come back for this one.
Julie.
But they're just so pretty to have blooming branches in a vase. And they're, they'll last for a week or two. And it's just such an easy way to bring spring in. And I bought an orchid for the first time, which I never wanted to spend a lot of money on a high maintenance plant. I don't know if they're high maintenance or not, but that's what they look like to me.
Right.
And Trader Joe's had them for $14.99. So going to see how that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep me posted. I've never bought
Yeah.
one. I've been tempted, but I haven't.
Yeah. And then I just bought a shamrock. My
I didn't
grandmother
even know you could do
McFerrin.
that.
Yeah, she always had a shamrock plant. Now hers lasted for years. I just buy one in March and it lasts,
What do they look like?
It's kind of like it's not a 4-leaf clover, but they're just green leafy. I think they have like 3 leaves. It's just a potted plant, but they're really cute.
Okay.
So I always have that for St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, cool. If someone wanted to buy one, where would they go to buy something like that?
I did get that at Trader Joe's, but today I saw them at Kroger as well.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, and they last a long time. I mean, you could potentially keep it for years, but
yeah,
I haven't had that good luck yet. But
right.
When we did this last year, I told you that I had read Michael and Smith's book about seasonalizing your home, and she's also known as the Nester on Instagram if you want to follow her. But she said you should aim for 3 plants in every room. And I thought, wow, because I'm just now getting into plants. Now, she said that could include like fresh flowers on your table. Like that's one. Or, some tiny little succulent and then some other plant. But I was wondering if either of you have that many plants.
I don't have 3 plants in my whole house.
Oh, no.
I know. I thought, man, that's a lot. But I do have probably 4 in my house now.
Okay.
Right.
I used to have more plants, but it seems like all my surfaces where I might place a plant, I'm using for other things. And, they have to have light and like there's particular about where you can put them. And I just don't have good places for them right now. So, that's interesting. I'm totally failing that statistic then.
Well, she said a lot of people don't want to spend the money. Like if you bought a $20 plant, but it only lives 6 months. Right. She said, when you do the math, that's 10 cents a day.
Yeah, that's worth it.
That's not that bad. So it's making me branch out more.
When I lived near a Costco, they always have excellent like potted plants. They have like succulents or they'll have bigger plants or whatever. But I still have 3 succulents that I got in these blue and white planters that are pretty small. Like they can all 3 go together on a table or you can kind of spread them out. But they're still going strong. And I got those several years ago. They have moved with us several times.
Good for you.
And so I love the pots. Like they're 3 different blue and white patterns, but they go together. So I've been wanting to go back to Costco to see if they have anything like that again this year.
Yeah.
I'll have to keep watch now that I know that there's a bar I should be aiming for.
I know.
It was like 3 for $17.99. I was like, you know what? I think I can do that.
Yeah. For spring decorating, I just find that I want to put away a lot of things. Like I want my surfaces to be more bare. I definitely need to clean anything. I can't decorate one thing if I first have not cleaned. And then I might change out some artwork. This year, I changed out my window treatments. I'd had the same window treatments for a while. And as I was putting my Christmas tree up, I thought, I don't know if I really like these window treatments anymore. And then my daughter and I went shopping and we found some kind of more on the sheer side, which I don't know if I will like them in the winter, but I do really like them for spring. And they're kind of a mustardy yellow color. Mindy, so you probably would like them because you love yellow. So
I do. Yeah. Where'd you find those, Marie?
TJ Maxx Home Goods.
Perfect.
Yes. And then I also switched out some pillow covers. I think I've shared this before on the podcast. Instead of buying new pillows, I'll just buy new pillow covers on Amazon. And I really like that because I like my feather inserts and I don't need to keep rebuying them. I just need a different cover. And then I find myself reassessing whether room arrangements are working. So like last week, I ordered this blush pink chair from the Opal House line of Target because I'd liked it for a while. And I thought, you know what, I think I could use it here. And it looks springy just by virtue of the color. So.
Pink, yeah.
Marie, I am so impressed.
Oh.
You have done a lot.
Well, I didn't do that specifically for spring, but I find that at the change of every season, I look around and reassess what's working, what's not working, what could I change here. I've cleaned my porch. I went out and spent a lot of time cleaning the porch. And I know I'm going to have to clean it again when all the pollen comes, but there's something about getting that cleaned up that makes you feel good. And then I've also been toying with the idea of some projects. Julie, you've inspired me with just your bathroom project and, where you did the grass cloth. And it's like, what fun little thing could I update, So it gets me thinking about what I might do. I'm kind of eyeing some bathroom cabinets that maybe could use a coat of paint. I don't know, with a fun color. I haven't actually ordered anything, but just something that would be fun to do. I like a project in the spring.
Yeah, and you get a lot of bang for your buck on with paint, It can make a big difference, and it's not that hard.
No.
Yeah. Well, speaking of cleaning, when you mentioned changing out curtains, like even if you don't change them out, I've heard like spring is a good time to maybe wash them, or if they're not washable, you can throw them in the dryer and just
fluff them, get the dust off,
make them smell better. Clean the blinds, clean the windows. You get all this light coming in. You don't want to block it with dirty windows. So that's a good time to do that. I was going to ask you too, do either one of you, I know you both, I know Marie, you have a fireplace. And normally I clean it out at the end of spring, vacuum out all the ashes, and then I just leave the screen there and it just stays like that all summer. And I have thought about maybe taking the screen down this year and putting something in there so I don't have to just look at this black hole all year. Do y'all do anything different with your fireplaces in the summer?
Well, my fireplace is not technically a working fireplace anymore, so I never have real wood fires. So like last year, I decided I was tired of looking at what I had in there before, so I bought all these big lanterns from Home Goods, different sizes, and put them in there, and then I put those candles that you can put on a timer.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like to look at something more than the empty box, and there's so many options, fun things that people can do.
Yeah.
There really
I thought about a fern or something, taking the screen down so it can come out a little too.
Mm-hmm.
We have gas logs, and really about the only thing I did to get ready for spring was the other day I was walking by and I turned the pilot light off. It's like, well, that's done. I think we used it maybe once through the whole winter.
I know. Well, and I know that you do like to build a lot of fires, Julie. So it'd be interesting if you were dissatisfied then that it was kind of over for sure for the season.
Oh,
if
no.
you put a fern in
it'll be April or May before I do that.
Okay. You're not going to jump the gun on that. Yeah.
No, it's going to be 18 this week. So,
oh my goodness.
One night it will be 18 degrees. So I'm going to have a fire, and that's one thing else that Michael and Smith recommended. She said, just like spring is a transition season, when you do this to your house, you don't have to just pick a Saturday and springify it. Like you might leave a few wool blankets out or whatever. We haven't talked about that yet, but you don't have to do it all in one day. You can gradually usher in the season.
Right.
So my fireplace will not be summarized until as late as
summer.
Yes.
Well, what about like regular decorations? Do you guys bring out things every year that are kind of traditional to your family, something you pull out all the time? Mindy, do you have a bin for spring/Easter?
You would think that I would, but I don't do anything like that. I really don't. I used to have some wreaths that I would pull back out that were springy. Like I had a forsythia wreath. I have like a magnolia wreath, but through the moves, I mean, I ended up, those have gone by the wayside. So, and I have never actually decorated for Easter. So I just feel like, Julie needs to go ahead and tell us what she does.
Because I bet Julie has at least 2 bins.
No.
I don't have a spring bin.
I had one spring bin and I'm paring that down because I'm not saying it's not pretty or I don't appreciate it in somebody else's home. I just don't want to store it anymore. And I like bringing in live things. So that's kind of my new mission is to get rid of the fake stuff and just use live stuff. And then it's gone. I don't have to keep up with it.
store it. Yeah.
I love it.
But who doesn't love a few moss bunnies and cool Easter eggs and bird nests and all that kind of stuff?
Well, and even those could be, you could make the Easter eggs that year, then throw them out.
Yeah.
You could get a real bird's nest and then just throw it back out.
That's right.
Well, when I saw your question about do you have any regular decorations, my first instinct was to say no. But then I thought about the fact, and my daughter said the other day, Mom, I don't think you've announced on the podcast that Chapel was born. So my second granddaughter was born in February. So you're getting this news about a month late if you don't follow us on Instagram. If you do follow us on Instagram, then you already know that. So anyways, now I'm the grandmother of 2 little girls. And I am finding that it's much more fun to decorate seasonally when little kids come over. Because she was so into Santa after I got out the Santa figurines and showed her some Santa videos and really started talking it up. Then every time she came over, she would walk around the house and point to the things. So the other day I had her and I thought, what about the Easter bunny? And when you have your own kids, you're like, I only want Easter to be about the religious significance. But when it's your grandchildren, you can really play up those cultural things. So I was like, we're watching some YouTube videos of Easter Bunny. And on the way home to take her back home, we stopped at Walmart, which has all things Easter, and we picked out a stuffed Easter bunny to bring home. And I'm trying to teach her the word bunny. And so anyways, it's a lot more fun. So now this year, I probably will get a few bunnies and different things to keep around the house that she can be surprised at when she comes over, because it's a lot more fun.
Yeah, and who doesn't remember your grandmother having certain things? Like I still remember a certain Santa and or like your little pilgrims you talked about at Thanksgiving, Marie. I remember things that my grandmother pulled out every year, and they were good memories, still special.
Right. So I do. I want to go out, and you can buy things like that really pretty inexpensively.
Yeah. Well, Marie, I'm marking this on the calendar. Marie is going to need a tub now, and you can have one of my tubs.
There you go.
I'm
Julie,
not going to go so far as a tub.
Hand it on
you'll
over.
have to put it somewhere.
All right. Well, anyways, what about smells? Do you guys have some favorite spring scents? And Julie, you're just going to have to go last because I already know that your list is going to be so long because you are so into smells. Mindy, do you have an Easter candle? I feel like you must have a candle that you like.
An Easter candle.
Or I mean a spring one. A spring one.
I do not have a spring candle. But what I do have, and I was excited to find today, was that the Dial Fresh Foaming Soap refill bottle had a pear scent instead of just the typical white rain scent. And so I was really excited about that. But any type of light, fresh floral scent, I do love. But a lot of candles just tend to give me a headache. So
that's right. Yes.
Another smell that I totally correlate with spring is Windex. After I have cleaned all of my windows inside and out. And so I just happen to love that fresh scent in the house. And nothing smells better to me than having cleaned all of the windows, wiping down all of the surfaces. I don't know, that to me, that's where it's at.
Yes, I know. I do love a good cleaning product that says, I've just been here and this is freshly done.
Yes. I've heard that's like a hack if you're going to have somebody over and your house is a wreck. Like if you just chuck everything out of the way and clean a window or two, it will feel like your house is clean. So there you go. You can thank me. If somebody drops in last minute, clean a window and you'll be good.
Right. Yeah. I don't really have any spring smells either. I will say that my husband got these gifts from work the other day, and in it was a candle. And I don't know if it's spring, but when my daughter was lighting it, I said, "What are you lighting that for?" She goes, "I just want a spring smell." And it was sandalwood. And apparently it met that criteria for her. So now I guess I'll be burning that sandalwood candle.
Well, there you go.
Other than that, I don't really have a spring smell. I do love the smell of freshly cut grass. I think that smells good. And I just like the smell of just the fresh breeze, like when you go out on the porch and just smelling outdoors. But I don't have something that I really bring in the house. But Julie, listeners do not need to be disappointed by Mindy's and my answer, because I am sure that you have a plethora of scents to share.
Oh,
yeah. I could top fresh grass and fresh air.
Yeah. And Windex. And soap.
No, I do love those things. I love sitting on my porch, and if it's about to rain, there's just that smell in the air and the fresh cut grass. And I do love all that. But inside, and I don't have nearly as many in the spring as I did in the fall, but I just love Lysol, the fresh linen scent. And it was really hard during the pandemic because you couldn't find that stuff. But I just use that everywhere. I spray my sheets between washings. I'll spray some blankets that are on the couch or pillows, and it just freshens everything up. I like that scent, the fresh linen. I also love Myers, the cleaning products, the basil scent.
Oh, I've never even heard of that.
Oh, it is so good. My daughter uses that, so it always makes me think of her house because that's the one she uses consistently. And of course, I love lavender. Probably my all-time favorite candles are the Antique Candle Company, and they come in kind of a mason jar type jar. And they have one called Fresh Cut Herbs, and that is a really, really good one.
That does sound good. These names are really good too. Basil, fresh cut herbs. I mean, yeah.
I like all the herb scents in the spring. Just, I guess because they're growing and it's kind of like fresh cut grass, fresh cut herbs.
Yeah.
Where do you find those candles, Julie?
Well, the first one I bought was in Texas at my daughter's house, and then I searched online, and you can buy it online.
Okay.
Just Antique Candle Company.
Okay. Yeah. Well, what about sounds? I do not have a spring playlist or really any movies, but I'm betting that you guys do.
All right. Well, I'm going to go totally, I'm just going to call my spring list very organic.
Okay.
Because the sound that I love in the spring is the birds. And they have been very evidently back in Georgia. And I love waking up to the sound of them. We have a lot of trees around us, and so they're quite loud and they're just beautiful. So I honestly find that I'm keeping the TV off, I'm keeping the radio off because I can hear the birds chirping outside. And it brings me so much joy. So I've actually had noticeably just more quiet days because with the sun shining and the birds chirping, it is just so peaceful.
How about you, Julie? Do you have a special playlist or movies that you do?
Well, I did make a spring cleaning playlist.
Oh, I bet that was a fun one.
Ooh.
Yeah, so they're all like Lovely Day is on there. Here Comes the Sun, My Girl. A lot of the titles have sun or sunshine in them.
Okay.
It's just very upbeat. Blue Sky by ELO, really fast, upbeat, happy songs. It really inspires your cleaning. Sometimes you need a little inspiration to dig into the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I don't necessarily have a movie I watch every spring like we did in the fall, but I started thinking of things that remind me of spring or Anne of Green Gables. And something I'm currently watching is All Creatures Great and Small because it takes place in the English countryside. So everything is green and little cows and lambs are being born. And it's just, I don't know, I think of spring. So it makes me want to watch that. And then music wise, I always have to mention George Winston because he has seasonal music and he actually has an album called Winter into Spring.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. Yeah, I do find that I think we probably watch less TV once the days are longer because you want to be outside or you might take that extra walk because it's nice outside. And so I would be interested, though, if listeners want to share any movies that they like to watch in the spring because maybe it would give us something new to try.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at tastes. What tastes do you enjoy in the spring? And then we were each going to maybe share a recipe. So I don't know what you guys have planned, what you have up your sleeve. But what is something that you look forward to tasting again, Mindy, that you don't really do in the winter?
I love all of the berries and kiwi. And so through the winter, we've had bananas, we've had apples, but the fruit isn't quite as tasty. And so all of the fruit that is so full of flavor now is really where it's at. And then a new thing that I have really enjoyed is local honey. So like my daughter's putting honey in her coffee. I'm making toast with butter and honey, and that could actually be a meal. And so it just seems like all these things that are the naturally sweetened fruits and the honey is really my favorite. And honestly, if I could share a recipe, Bryce and I have been talking about trying to more of the Mediterranean diet. Lots of the flavors of that are very fresh. So one of the recipes that I'll share is something that I kind of came up with that is so easy is skillet shrimp. All I do is I buy the large peeled, deveined, and tail off shrimp. And I thaw it out with cold water. And then in a skillet, I put a tablespoon of olive oil, about 1/4 cup of butter in there, let that melt. And then I add, it's McCormick's. It's the salt-free garlic and herb seasoning. And then for a little more flavor, I add the McCormick's Caribbean jerk flavoring.
Oh, that sounds really good.
That
so spicy.
Yeah. And it's to taste. So like if you want it a little spicier, you can add a little bit more of the Caribbean jerk. If you want a little less, it just gives it is so good. Okay. So the shrimp though, you just cook it until it's cooked through, which is so fast. I mean, you can make a skillet within 5-10 minutes and then you can do anything with it. So like last night we put it over a bed of long grain and wild rice. And then you can add red onion, avocado, cucumber, feta cheese. And then we had little non-bread pieces and you can like scoop it and eat it. So that was a meal. So it more than a recipe, I think it's just all these ingredients that I kind of mix and match because you could do the same thing and put it on like a street taco, and you could put like the shrimp with like shredded cabbage and then do like a mango salsa on it with any of those different toppings. So
or pasta.
I've just kind of, so I'm filling my fridge with these things and then we're just kind of playing around with them. But the shrimp is, it was a huge hit.
That sounds really good.
Yeah. And when I make shrimp in the skillet, Mindy, I did look this up and you can do it. And I have been doing it for a long time now. You don't actually need to thaw it. You can just cook it like 1 or 2 minutes longer. So if you don't want to do the whole running under cold water, just put them in there frozen. Same spices, same everything.
Perfect.
It's one less step.
Hey, I'm all about that.
Yeah. All right, Julie, what are you tasting right now this time of year?
Well, I haven't actually bought it yet, but I look forward to watermelon coming back into my life. Yeah. Maybe that's more summer, but that's one thing, sometimes you'll see them in the winter in the grocery store, but I don't dare buy them.
No, I don't either.
And strawberries, I love to pick strawberries in May locally. I do that every year. And I just, the strawberries look red in the grocery store all year long, and then you cut them open and they're white. So I really love a good strawberry. And a lot of times on Easter, we just do a real simple dessert of strawberry shortcake. And I'll just buy a pound cake, cut up the fresh berries, and have some whipped cream. Real simple, but it's so good.
Delicious.
Yeah,
definitely.
And I had 2 recipes to share.
Okay.
And both of them were, I think her name's Ree Drummond, the Pioneer Woman. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. And I make these, I noticed I make one in the summer and I make one starting in the spring more than I ever do in the winter. And it's the best, this is the name of the recipe, the best macaroni salad ever. I love macaroni salad because it's cold, so you have elbow macaroni and it has roasted red peppers. So once I buy the big jar, like I can keep making this. I have the ingredients on hand. It has some mayonnaise, it has some vinegar, sugar, and some sweet pickles. So once I get those 2 ingredients, the pickles and the peppers, I can keep making it. It is really, really good. So I just have that in the fridge all the time.
I know. I do like a nice cold salad once we get this. And I would never think of wanting a cold salad in the winter.
No. It's a great side dish. And then the other one is her chicken and dumplings recipe, which you kind of think sounds wintry, but these are just, everything's fresh. It's carrots and celery and onion in the broth. And then the best part of it is you don't have to roll out any pastry dough to make your dumplings. They're just, I think cornmeal and some flour and some other ingredients, but you just drop them in like with a spoon and into the boiling broth, and then they just float up. So it's super, super easy.
That does sound good.
They're really good.
I think you may have shared that before, and I think I may have tried making it, and it was really good.
Okay.
But I would need to relook. Maybe you only shared it with me. Maybe I just said like, out of desperation, what's a good recipe I could make sometime? I don't know that you've shared on the podcast.
I think I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to think of recipes, Julie, and you said, well, it could even be a dessert. And last night I saw this article, and it was that the Florida just declared strawberry shortcake their state dessert. And
Ooh.
I didn't even know. I don't know what the state dessert of Tennessee is. Do you know Georgia's, Mindy?
I feel like it would be something with peaches in it.
Oh, probably like peach cobbler or something. But yeah, he signed it at the Strawberry Festival, and it's funny because it said the House voted 109-4 to approve it, and I'm wondering what the 4 people wanted instead of strawberry shortcake. Like, I would be interested to see what they wanted for the state dessert.
Maybe something with oranges.
Oranges. That's
yes, they were bought off by the orange lobby, but. I was thinking about strawberry shortcake that I really only start making that in the spring, and I have made it quite a few times for Steve's birthday, which is April 3rd. And it's like, okay, that's the first time this year that we've had strawberry shortcake, and then I'll make it throughout the summer. So I make my strawberry shortcake with the Bisquick, but I just do the drop biscuits. So, you mix them up, it's real quick, and then you just drop them on your cookie sheet. So there's not a lot of rolling out or anything fancy, but I think they taste the best to me because that's how I grew up having it. But other people might like angel food cake or something else with their strawberry shortcake. But I do think that kind of says spring to me. And apparently it's Florida state dessert. So obviously a lot of people like it. All right. Well, what about touch? Do you guys add any texture to your home? What do you get out that you love the feel of?
Well, I thought when I came up with that question, I thought actually it's probably that we take away some texture in the spring.
True.
Like if you had a fur blanket out or a wool blanket or flannel sheets, you're probably going to start, or corduroy, those kind of heavy fabrics, you're probably going to start taking those away. And so I have a lot of wool plaid blankets that I put away and bring out a cotton blanket. Because we always need blankets, even in the summer, because we keep it too cold with the air conditioning. So we still need blankets, but just you don't want like a scratchy wool one on your bare legs.
Right.
And like you, Marie, I have 3 of those fat down-filled pillows in my den, and I just can't say enough about those because I love just storing the covers and changing them. I just changed out the covers and I bought more of a white background, and I kind of had a muddy, darker background, and that just says spring. Like it's a crisper look, crisper fabric than a kind of instead of a rough, it's a smooth. So I think the texture just changes maybe in the spring.
Right. Yeah. Are you texturizing anything, Mindy?
Very similar to Julie. We have lighter blankets versus the heavier blankets that we were using in the winter. And so we all gravitate towards these lighter blankets that I bought in like a king size. So we have several that are king size, and that's what everybody wants because they're huge.
I was going to say your boys are really tall, so they need a tall blanket.
They are. And the other thing that I noticeably do for myself is I put workout clothes on every morning, and instead of a heavier sweater, I do lighter sweaters. Or like a long sleeve t-shirt. That I layer over my gem tank top. And so that's one thing that I do is I'm still wearing kind of the same kind of clothes, but the sweater changes.
And I think you've said before that you love sweaters. And so you have several to choose from.
I love sweaters. I need to stop buying sweaters, but I love them so much.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't really think of anything texture unless we're maybe just bringing in, like you said, Julie, we might bring in something from outside, like a branch or flowers or something like that. And I do tend to use the lighter blankets in the spring and summer, those types of things. But yeah, I couldn't think off the top of my head anything that I'm touching that's that different, unless I just hope that it's cleaner. Like I might have washed all the blankets.
I totally just thought of something that's different that I do touch. My legs. I shave them.
Oh.
Yay. Definitely less texture there.
My legs seem to be much more smooth.
Okay. That is good.
I think I lost 5 pounds too.
Oh. That's funny. Well, let's talk about Easter. And Easter is a little later this year. Sometimes Easter would have already been happening or just about to happen when this releases. But isn't Easter this year in a few weeks? Like it's in mid-April?
Mid-April. Yeah.
It is mid-April.
Yeah, it seems like Easter's maybe a little later this year. So let's talk about Easter traditions. And what do you guys do for the Easter meal? Is anyone making lamb?
I tried it once.
Did you?
Did you?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
I mean, it was okay. I think we're just going to be ham people. It's just easier.
Okay.
We kind of do real simple on Easter, like ham and biscuits and asparagus, which that's kind of our go-to family green vegetable, which everybody likes, strangely enough. That doesn't seem like something my kids would like, but they do.
Mm-hmm.
And another recipe that I thought about, and this is an oldie, like this was really popular when we first got married, and it's the baked pineapple casserole. Have y'all ever had that?
No,
Yes.
but I could see how it would be
It's
popular.
like crack.
That's a big thing down here, Julie.
It's pineapple chunks and some sugar and flour and pineapple juice, and then you top it with cheese, and then you make a Ritz cracker butter topping. I mean, it is amazing.
It doesn't sound too good, Julie, but
well, it's kind of like apples and cheese. I know everybody says, "Ooh, that doesn't sound good," but it is. Oh, it's heavenly.
It's a
Okay.
thing.
So-
People love it.
That was a big thing for our Easter. Yeah.
yeah. I don't know that I have a go-to Easter meal. I have done ham in the past. A lot of times my mom has us over for Easter. Like, I don't know why she hasn't made Easter. Like Christmas we rotate, Thanksgiving we rotate amongst everyone, but she still usually does Easter, and I think she probably does ham, but I can't remember. I do know that one of the things that she should bring back, and I feel like we had this maybe when I was little, like maybe some aunts and uncles made it, but now that she has great grandchildren that could really appreciate it, like the bunny cakes, the coconut bunny cakes, have you ever seen where people will make the different forms and then it'll be a bunny? And I think that would be fun, but other than that, I don't know.
It's going to be your job, Marie.
I think this is for you, Marie. Not,
Yeah.
I don't want to make a bunny cake. I want my mom to do the bunny cake.
I know, but I think you're the one that's going to enjoy it.
That's true.
Do you remember that strawberry pretzel salad? That seems to be a big
I do
spring
love
thing.
strawberry
I do
pretzel
too.
salad. Yeah.
The pretzel crust and the cream cheese.
Mhm.
It's such a pain to make though. So
It is. And when my mother-in-law says, "What can you bring?" my kids like her to bring that. And so I feel bad saying that because I know it is hard to make, but they do request it and she does it.
it is. It's an oldie but a goodie.
It is a good
Wow.
one. Do you have an Easter tradition, Mindy?
Well, the past 4 years, I feel like every Easter we have been traveling somewhere.
Okay.
And yeah, we're always looking for a restaurant that's open, and it's actually hard to find one,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is a good problem. But
Mhm. Yeah. Well, if you're not having a special Easter meal, do you want to share what your favorite Easter candies are? And do you still give, because this could be a question for midlife women, do you still give your adult children that are home, if they're coming over, any kind of Easter gift or basket or their favorite
Oh.
candy or anything like that?
absolutely. That
Okay.
is so fun to make
Mhm.
little Easter baskets for everybody. And then we always have an Easter egg hunt that involves money.
Mm-hmm.
So whether that be change in eggs, one year it was a tech year, and we put strips of paper that had amounts on it that they won, and then Bryce just transferred it to their account.
Oh, that's the modern
funny.
way.
A
Okay.
Venmo Easter egg hunt.
We really thought that was going to be like awesome, but honestly, they like the change better. Like there was
Mhm.
something tangible about finding it and counting
Mhm.
it, stuff like that. Even if they ended up with like $5, total,
Mhm.
or less.
Right.
A quarter.
But I specifically have one Easter candy. I have to have just one every single year. And I can't seem to have more than one because it would be too much. But I thoroughly enjoy the one that I get. And it's the Cadbury eggs.
Yes,
Oh.
I don't know if I could have more than one of those, but I could see the appeal of one.
Oh my goodness. I love it so much. And I have one classic Cadbury egg every year. And I look forward to it. And then I'm done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that kind of that way about Peeps. Like, I want some Peeps, but I just want them one time, like maybe 3 or 4 Peeps. But I mean, I don't need to eat them every day, but there's something about Easter that you should have at least one peep, and I like the pink ones.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I do like jelly beans at that time of year. I don't have them any other time, but I like some fruit flavored jelly beans. They are good.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I mean, I know I used to do candy and then pajamas for my kids in their Easter baskets. And then finally my boys were like, Mom, we don't wear pajamas. We don't want pajamas. So I had to get rid of that tradition. But they used to get their spring pajamas in their Easter basket. So anyways, now I really don't do Easter baskets for the boys because they really don't care and they don't eat sugar. So what would be the point? Sometimes I'll get my girls a little something, but last year I did do an Easter basket for my granddaughter. And this year I'll probably do 2 little Easter baskets. And that is fun. And I got her like a spring outfit and then a little bit of candy and maybe like a toy. But I do like to include some kind of clothing. So I'll probably do like spring pajamas maybe for her or something. But I think that's fun.
If the boys don't want it, it's time for the grandkids.
I've got to buy some spring pajamas somewhere.
Oh.
But yeah, do you still give Easter baskets, Julie? And what do you like to put in them?
I don't anymore. I probably did, though, up until the last 3 or 4 years. You know, I've probably in the last 2 or 3, I gave Easter baskets, but I've kind of cut that off now. So, you know, but when I did, when my kids were little, their Easter baskets had candy and they loved, like, that was our time to maybe get a new game, you know, like a card game, something small. And they loved Adventures in Odyssey. And that's back when they had CD players in their rooms. And so we would get new CDs, new Adventures in Odysseys. That was, they just knew that was what was coming in the Easter basket. So, but yeah, this year I get to buy Ezra an Easter basket. I didn't last year, and I actually made him an Easter basket. And I just finished it this weekend, and so it was fun to put all the stuff in it. And
how cute! Maybe you can take a picture before you mail it.
Yeah, and it's got little sidewalk chalk that looks like an eggs in a carton, and some kind of little duck you put in water and it grows.
Oh, that'll be fun.
And some Jelly Bellies and a book. So,
yeah, you're kind of like me. Like, you don't just put candy; you put some other, you know, items in there. Because I still remember my Easter basket. One year, I got a stuffed lamb in it, and I still remember that was my favorite Easter basket. And I must have been, I don't know, maybe 3rd grade or something.
I remember putting candy in my kids' baskets, and instead of just buying all the same, I tried to buy like what Molly liked, what Andrew liked. And inevitably, every year they made fun of me. They're like, Mom, I'm not the one that likes Peeps. And so they would end up having to trade it all because I'd get it wrong every year.
Oh, that's
like,
funny.
I can't remember all that.
I know.
Well, Julie, is there kind of Easter candy that you get once a year?
Yeah, and I've already bought it and I've already eaten it.
What is it?
I just love the malted eggs. You know, the little.
That's what my daughter Lauren loves.
That's my favorite.
Yes.
So I keep them in a little bowl, and I noticed that bowl was empty when I walked by it today. So,
bummer.
Well, maybe John's been eating them all today.
Oh yeah, I mean David and John have been eating it too, but I probably have eaten the most. So that's it. I'm not buying any more, and it's not even Easter.
We buy one bag.
That's right. That's it.
Okay, well, let's turn our eyes to outside and talk a little bit about what we do to prepare our yards, because I know that you are itching to get in the dirt, Mindy, because that's really what you love. So what are you doing in Georgia? Because you're a little ahead of us.
I am. I'm so excited about the longer growing season. So we've just, in the fall, we redid our entire front yard. And I'm not joking when I say that every single day I walk out front to see if my 2 spring trees have bloomed yet. They have budded all over them. They're Chinese French trees. They'll have a white blossom all over them, and they are on the verge. I am so excited. I have been weeding every time I go out. I need to pull more weeds. You know, anytime you make a new bed, you have to train it, and then you have to keep it up. But also a sign of spring here in Georgia is azaleas are blooming. And they are beautiful. So I have some azaleas that we just planted in our yard, and those also have buds on them. And I also am watching them every day, waiting for them to open.
Right.
But I buy ferns for the front porch. I've already bought them, but we have a cold day coming. So they're in the garage until that is through. And I'm about to redo all of my potted plants. Back porch, front porch. I could go ahead and put geraniums out. I know that's a summer bloomer, but they're going to do great as long as it's not too cold. I'm putting out all the summer plants.
Mm-hmm.
So we just did fresh pine straw on all of our beds. So I don't feel like we have to redo that. But typically we would like fertilize the grass, treat it for weeds, add more mulch or pine straw, things like that. But right now, I'm just waiting for things to turn green and to bloom.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. As we're recording, it really isn't spring when we're actually recording this. So nothing is blooming in my yard. There's not a spot of, not even one little leaf bud, nothing. But as I go for walks, I see the daffodils have popped up, and there are some flowering trees in other people's yards that are about to bloom. So I am looking every time I go out for a walk too, Mindy, like what is starting to come out.
Mm-hmm. The red buds are really on display down here right now.
Yeah.
Crabapple trees, cherry trees, some southern magnolia trees. They're just beautiful. Some of the colors coming out.
Mm-hmm. What are you doing, Julie, in your yard to get ready?
Well, like you said, nothing's really blooming here yet. And our latest frost date is April 15th. So I know I'm not going to plant anything before then. I'll probably wait till probably the 1st of May, just because we still get a frost after April 15th, it seems like every year. But I can trim back my roses. If you have the knockout roses, you can trim them way back in the spring and they'll still get really big in the summer. Trimming back my hydrangeas that I forgot to cut last fall and just raking out any leaves that were left over, just kind of cleaning things up, looking at the pots. Some of them are broken. I need to replace them. So this is the time to just kind of get ready for all that, but not too much.
Talk to me about the hydrangeas, because I do notice that as I walk around, I notice that some people leave the dried blooms on all winter. So I did, because I've only had hydrangeas for a couple of years. But then do you go ahead and cut the dried blooms off in the spring?
Yeah. I normally cut mine back, in the fall, just because I didn't want them to look all brown all summer in the front yard, but I just didn't have time to do it. So I left them this year. But yeah, you can cut them back and then
okay.
They'll grow big.
Okay. I'll have to go out and do that then, because I'm not always sure of how to take care of them. So I kind of see what other people do.
No, I get nervous. I get nervous with the hydrangeas because I'm like, especially in a different climate, I'm like, well, I don't want to cut off new growth.
Right.
So I feel like I just missed it with our hydrangeas, and now I can't trim them till the fall because
they're budding.
It's already starting to bud, and I'm like, because I could be cutting off future blooms, I guess.
Well, and there are different types of hydrangeas, like the sun-loving ones and the shade, and that there is a difference there, because some, they say, bloom on old wood and some bloom on new wood, and you have to get that right. So, but Marie, I think the type that you're talking about, like the big snowball ones or the limelight, those you can cut back.
Okay. Well, either way, I think you're okay, Mindy, like whether you did it or not, because I don't even know if I ended up doing it last year, because some of the prettiest hydrangeas are the ones that nobody ever does one thing to. You can see them growing along the side of an old house, and no one's going out there and doing anything to them. And they're beautiful. So I think of them as a finicky plant, but they're probably more hardy than I'm giving them credit for, It's just that we want those beautiful blooms so much we don't want to mess it up.
They sure are beautiful.
Yes. All right. Well, what about activities that you associate with spring? Are you guys going into any outdoor festivals or starting a new outdoor sport? What are you doing outside? What are some activities you associate? Bike riding? What do you do?
Hiking.
Okay.
I like to hike, and so spring is the best time, spring and fall, because I don't really enjoy it in the summer when it's hot and humid.
That's true.
It's just not great. But so I like to do that, and this is really doesn't count as an activity, but I love to eat outside.
Oh yeah.
So I like it when you start, when the restaurants have their patios open, I will always choose outdoor over indoor. And then my porch, I can clean it off and we can start having dinners out there, or even just have my morning coffee out there. So I always prefer to be outside. And even the fire pit, that's something you think of in the winter, but I love a spring fire out there too. So,
yeah, you can tell that it's like porch season for dinner when my kitchen table never gets cleared off again for like the whole summer. Like there's something on it all the time because we never clear it off to eat.
That's great.
Because we're outside.
I know. Guys, I just had my first couple of breakfasts on my back porch last week. And it was the first time of the season. I had, like Julie, I'd cleaned off my porches and gotten everything wiped down and ready. And I could stay out there forever. But the other thing is, along with hiking, is really just walking. And like you, Marie, I'm looking at all of the spring blooming trees and flowers, and it's just like so much to take in. And then even something funny happened to me as I was walking just yesterday. The sky grew darker and darker as I'm walking. And then all of a sudden the temperature dropped about 10 degrees and then it just let loose and started pouring down rain. I literally called Bryce at work and I said, I'm going to need you to rescue me. So the spring thunderstorms, man, it just popped up.
Yes.
There was no way I could get back to my minivan. I was probably 30 minutes away from it. But I was soaking wet by the time.
Yes. We have had a lot of rain, so that can put a damper on outdoor activities. Yeah, I definitely, one of the things I just look forward to about spring is you just see people outside more. You have more walking by conversations. I know it's like people have emerged. Yep. So I really do enjoy that. We just get more walks in, like you said, Mindy. There's time to do more.
Yes. With the time change, we're out. My son started riding his bike in the neighborhood. And I'm sitting on my front porch swing when I'm done walking. When I can't walk anymore, I'm
swinging,
sitting on my swing.
All right. Well, I love hearing what you guys are doing for spring. And listeners, we'd love to hear what you're doing for spring. Come and find us on Instagram at Midlife Matters Podcast or email us at midlifematterspodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear the sights and sounds and smells that you love, the things you're bringing into your home, what you're doing in your yard. Send us pictures. I find all of that so inspiring. Just walking around my own neighborhood, I find things like, oh, I could do that. I could do that. So, all right, well, let's move into I'm a Fan. Julie, what are you a fan of this week?
I'm a fan of someone I've already mentioned. Her name is Michael Smith, also known as The Nester on Instagram. And she's a decorator and she does a lot of online work. And she has some classes. I think her brand name is also called The Cozy Minimalist. She has lots of names. But I signed up for some online classes and there's 4 classes: winter, spring, summer, and fall. And they were all about seasonalizing and decorating your home. And I think each season had about 7 or 8 10-minute episodes that you watch. And they were about decorating. And she even talked about, she talks about it through the 5 senses like we just did. She goes into hosting, ways that help you with hospitality and hosting and for that season. She even has some recipe ideas and decorating ideas. And she's very much just doing it in a natural, inexpensive way. She's helping you not to go buy more stuff.
Right.
That's kind of her mission. So, and she has, if you go on the Cozy Minimalist, her website, she had a whole tutorial on forcing branches, like picking forsythia branches, cutting them before they've even bloomed and forcing them to bloom in the winter. Like you could bring them in the winter and force them. I was a little too late for that because now they're actually blooming. But she has recipes, shopping tips. And what I love about her is her style is not my style at all, but her ideas and principles transcend any style. And I think that's really a good sign of a great decorator because, you don't have to like her style to get a whole lot out of what she's saying. It's all very principle oriented.
Oh, that's great.
It's not just copy my style,
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. I would be interested in watching those. I'll have to put a link in our show notes if other listeners are interested in doing that too. All right, Mindy, what are you a fan of this week?
I am a fan of a salad at Nuke's. And it is my favorite salad. And especially, I mean, I like it all the time. But let me just tell you what's on it. It's called the Nuke's Favorite Salad. It's made with romaine lettuce, and then it has all natural chicken. It comes with gorgonzola cheese, but I sub it for feta cheese. Grapes, pecans, artichoke hearts, dried cranberries.
I'm loving it.
Oh my goodness. I leave the croutons off. And it comes with a sherry vinaigrette, but I always get Greek dressing. But all of those flavors together, it's got like the savory and the sweet and the different textures. And it's such a loaded salad that you really could have, like, that could be like one major meal, and you could have a snack and be good for the day.
Yes.
That sounds great.
A huge salad. I love all of the ingredients in it.
That does sound good. And I do love gorgonzola cheese too. I like feta too. So yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that sounds really good. All right. Well, I'm a fan this week. I'm going to link to the pillow covers. I said I got some pillow covers to kind of spring up my living room. And I think I've ordered from this brand before, but they're like a 2-pack of boho throw pillow covers, and they're natural cotton, hand woven, tufted tassel lumbar pillows, but they have other sizes also. But what I liked about them was they had a lot of texture, kind of nubby texture, but they're kind of a cream, a mustard, and gray coloring, but mostly that nubby natural color. So it really felt light, but it still had some interest to look at it. And so I'll put a link to those. Amazon has so many pillow covers. I feel like I want to go around and replace some more pillow covers in my house, especially when you were talking about replacing yours too, Julie. Like, it's such a fun way to have something new when you walk in the room.
And they are so comfortable, the down. And no matter how flat it gets, like sometimes my family will actually sit on the pillow and it is flat as a pancake, but you can just fluff it right back up to the way it looks. And, you know, like you can get cheaper pillows at Target, but once you get that dent in them,
yeah, you can't get that back.
You know,
out. Yeah,
they're done.
Right.
So I love these pillows. They're totally worth the money.
Maybe on a future I'm a Fan, you can share your down pillow inserts. I just have like the feather pillow inserts. Like sometimes you buy a really nice pillow at Home Goods or something. It has the really nice insert. And I feel like they always keep their shape also, but I would be interested in trying out the down ones too.
Well, today I went to TJ Maxx Home Goods while my mom was at the doctor, and they had a 20 by 20 down pillow, and it was Ralph Lauren, and it was white, crisp white. And I don't really need that cover. I thought, oh, that cover just wouldn't go in my house. Then when I saw the price, I bought it just for the insert because it was $116 from Ralph Lauren, and then TJ Maxx had it for $60, and it was on the clearance for $20.
Oh my goodness! And you have to get that.
Yeah, because I wasn't going to get it because I thought I don't need a white pillow, and then I thought, no, stupid. You know, the insert is worth $20.
Oh, it's worth a lot more than the.
Oh, yeah. So I bought it. I was so excited, and because it was exactly, I like the 20 by 20 size. So
awesome. All right, you guys. Well, we can all look forward to spring now. Of course, we never mentioned allergies, but we're not even going to talk about that in this episode. We're only going for the good things.
That's right.
We should have done a plug for Allegra and Zyzal. And
yes. Next week we'll be a fan of those.
Yeah. Why do you think I'm eating locally grown honey? I'm trying to.
That's right.
I'm trying to develop resistance that way.
That's a great idea. All right, Julie, Mindy, we'll talk to you next week.
All right.
Okay,
Bye. We're so happy you joined us today. You can find the show notes for this episode at midlifematterspodcast.com. Also, please tell a friend about the show and help them hit the free subscribe button on their favorite podcast app. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Midlife Matters Podcast. That's where we post pictures and stories about all the things we talk about in each episode. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.